Well, it's time now to take a look at what's grabbing the headlines this morning in the press. Solange Mougin is here with us. Solange, you're starting off, of course, with Vladimir Putin's reactions to the blast on that key bridge linking Russia and Crimea.
Yeah, and the Russian president is pretty angry. According to Metro this morning, it says on its front page, the wrath of Putin. It says in its headline that Putin has doubled down on targeting civilians, a sign of which you could say we're seeing already in bombings in multiple Ukrainian cities. Now, the Times says that this bridge blast is an act of terrorism, according to Vladimir Putin, and he has vowed that the only response is to kill the terrorists. Now, as the Washington Post explains, this bridge in particular was the bridge of dreams of the Russian president, saying that the bombing is both a strategic disaster, but also a symbolic one, as it cuts at Putin's stature, but also at the Russian army's morale. Now, Le Temps, the Swiss paper today, says that this explosion was indeed a slap in the face for Putin, and it now adds a major logistical challenge for Moscow, as the bridge is an essential thoroughfare for the army. And finally, La Croix says that the Russian army is now on the defensive, and that heads may soon roll within the military, that top brass in the military could soon be stripped of their positions because of the bridge bombing.
So, Solange, cartoonists have also been quite inspired by Saturday's bombing.
Yeah, Morton Moreland of the Times, well, he has a great little cartoon today of Vladimir Putin being knocked off of his chair in front of a bridge-like / conference table, and this sort of and here you see some sort of missing military men. This bridge theme was also picked up today in this cartoon by David Rowe for the Financial Review. It is my favorite of the day because of its title, Cry Me a River.
Solange, now to a long-awaited trial, one of a couple that's kicking off in Paris today, and this one is that of a former Liberian rebel who's charged with war crimes.
Yeah, there may be no official photograph of Kunti Kamara, but as The Guardian tells us today, the former Liberian rebel, he is being charged with war crimes. There are dozens of testimonies implicating the former colonel into things like ordering his troops to cut open bodies and eat the hearts of the victims, charged with torture, cannibalism, and complicity in crimes against humanity. His trial is a first in France in regard to Liberian war crimes. Now, Le Monde takes us back into this Liberia's first civil war between 1989 and 2003. It killed some 250,000 people. The Le Monde also salutes the courage of 4 witnesses and victims that will testify to the unimaginably barbaric crimes that they witnessed.
Let's head to Iran now, Solange, where the protest movement against the supreme leader and government repression continues.
Yeah, in addition to hacking state television, the largely women-led movement, well, it continues to gain momentum. And the Middle East Eye tells us that women students, they actually told Iran's president to go get lost as the unrest is surging. And Libération also has a very interesting editorial today about this photograph of young schoolgirls giving the finger to the Ayatollahs. And it actually explains that giving the middle finger in Iran, well, you actually do it with your thumb, as if you were hitchhiking. So for Libération, this way of saying get lost, a Western way of saying get lost, it is a sign both of disgust, but also one that's understood by the world, and as well, it's a way for these young girls of aligning themselves with Western freedoms. Now, the New Yorker also is discussing the movement in Iran. It says that this counter-revolution is momentous in that it is first led by women, but it was both the spark and the engine of the movement, but it is also historically unique in that it is an upheaval in regard about women and about women's freedom.
Solange, you've also found a couple of articles on energy.
Yeah, the French Prime Minister, along with a whopping 16 of her ministers, is in Algeria. She continues her visit there. While officially the discussions are not about gas exports, but rather about smoothing tensions, Libération says that it is clear that the Russian energy crisis has made the gas-rich Algeria more courted than ever. Now, sticking with this energy crisis, but from another angle, the Wall Street Journal has an article today about Paris's decision to turn off the lights of the Eiffel Tower 2 hours early. The paper says that some are wondering whether this will actually really help, whether it's small potatoes in energy savings. All the same, it is a sign, the journal explains, that turning off the lights has become something of value in Europe.
Finally, Solange, you found an article about saving a little bit of loved ones.
Yes, this article is from the New York Times, and some people turn their loved ones, their loved ones' ashes into jewels, plant a tree. The New York Times tells us about a new phenomenon of sort, or one that's gaining traction, rather. There are even businesses that are being created out of this, and it's actually to take your loved one's tattoo. There are businesses that teach morticians to cut out the tattoo and how to frame it. So this is the new way of keeping a keepsake from a loved one by saving their tattoo. I mean, it's a bit icky, but it helps some people. So why not?
Solange, I had no idea.
Neither did I.
Learn something every day. Solange Moujon with the press review. Thank you very much.